G'day, it's Jamie, and welcome to Where's My Yowie. Today, I'm reading an old story about wild cattle hunting in the Mallee Scrub from 1880, so we'll get into it. This was published in Australian Town and Country Journal on Saturday the 26th of June, 1880, titled Wild Cattle Hunting in the Back Blocks. The youthful sons of India, Africa and America, when they come of age and feel themselves imbued with a warlike spirit, a love of chase and a thirst for the heroic, follow in the footsteps of their warrior fathers, go out into the plains and jungles, slay the buffalo on his beat and the lion in his den. But the less fortunate sons of this, our eastern clime, not less endowed with all the attributes of the true hero and sportsman, lacking the opportunities for adventure which other countries afford, are forced to satisfy themselves with books. They read thrilling and overdrawn sketches of a hazardous encounter with a lion, the death of a man-eater, or hairbreadth escapes and deeds of daring heroism wrought on plain and forest, and their eager hearts throb with ardent longings as they sigh for the treacherous jungles and prairies. But though we have neither lions, tigers or buffaloes, I will endeavour in a short sketch of a wild cattle hunt to show that adventurous sport sufficient to satisfy the most ardent sportsman may be sought and obtained in the black blocks of New South Wales. We read of the fury of the African lion, the ferocity of the Bengal tiger, and the defiant strength of an American buffalo. But for a picture of savage strength, ferocity, and unchained wrath, paint me a wild bullet bay, lashing his tail and rolling his fierce vengeful eyes as with forehead to the ground he charges on the object of his anger. In writing of wild cattle, I do not wish my readers to understand herded or paddock cattle of a wild disposition, but those bred at large in the Mallee Scrubs and rough unfenced forests, where the axe has never fallen, cattle whose dams and grand dams have never known the restraint of man's hand, and on which the restraint lays as irksome as upon the wild untamed giraffe. Before describing a hunt, it may be well to inform those who are not well up in the cattle law as to the mode of taking wild ones in numbers. It is to surround them when they leave the scrub to water at tanks, etc., in the open country, and then, by a liberal use of lungs and whips, to frighten them off in the direction required. By daylight, this plan nearly always fails, as the cattle make back to their scrubby haunts in spite of every resistance. But by moonlight, it is often possible to take them, as they are then more timid. The setting sun was more than half hidden by the distant horizon, and the long lean shadows of the lofty pines were fast becoming blended with the darker shades of evening, as we reached our camp on the outskirts of the Mallee Scrub. We quickly got to work, preparing a hasty meal, for tonight we are going to try a moonlight drive at a tank, which is distant about a mile. When our meal was over and the moon had risen sufficiently to enable us to pick our way through the pine saplings, we girthed our horses tightly and rode to a cover situated between the Mallee and the tank, about a quarter of a mile from the latter. Here we waited silently and patiently, our intention being to cut the cattle off from the scrub when they arrived at the water, and then force them out onto the open country and into a yard, which we had there erected. After waiting an hour, lounging about in various positions, and being occupied with thoughts of scenes and faces far distant, we were suddenly roused to business by the motions of a stockhand. We could see by his motion that something was approaching, and in the course of a few minutes, the low shuffling sound produced by hooves of about 30 cattle could be plainly heard. We listened quietly until the herd had reached the water, and then, by pre-arrangement, we formed ourselves into a crescent behind them. The moon was now so high and bright that we could see a beast distinctly at 150 paces. At a given signal, every horseman put spurs to his horse and charged towards the affrighted herd. With many a whoop ahoy and crack of whips, we made noise enough to startle a whole regiment of Her Majesty's volunteers. For a single moment, the astonished herd stood motionless, as though in doubt as to whether they would punish our audacity by returning the charge, or yield to the fear which the unusual noise produced upon them. Finally, they decided on the latter course, and trotted quietly off in the direction of the open country. They travelled in this direction for some 10 or 12 minutes, and we were just beginning to congratulate ourselves on the success of our plans when 5 old bulls, big, thick-skinned old pikers, turned suddenly round and, with a roar that would shame a group of lions, charged on us. It was utter madness to attempt to stop them, and woe betide the man or horse who paused in their track as they set their ponderous heads and giant shoulders towards scrubby homes. Myself and my friend Glenn, who were in the centre of the crescent, and consequently in direct line of the bovine threat, became suddenly and simultaneously smitten with a desire to try the ratio of speed which existed between our respective steeds. And strange to say, we marked our course in a direction diametrically opposite to that from which the bulk were approaching. Our horses, though real good hacks, were not bred for speed, and the ground being soft from the late rains gave the strong muscles of the bulls an advantage. The leading bull was very close to my horse, so close in fact that while straining every nerve to increase the distance, I kept up a shower of blows on his face with my 12-foot stock whip. This, however, failed to turn him, or to make him waver in his determination to land me and my horse. This chase was continued for 5 minutes or more, during which time I experienced anything but pleasant sensations. But nature, however, soon began to tell, and the ungainly bull was left behind by the more agile horse. As I was now able to circle round and rejoin my companions, who were still driving the balance of the cattle, those being all cows and calves, was somewhat easy to manage. My friend Glenn was less fortunate. He tried to sheer off to the right, with the intention of letting the bulls pass him, but in making the attempt, he slackened his pace and received the full charge of a big black piker behind his horse's shoulder. It is needless to state that both horse and rider were thrown violently to the ground, and though the horse was killed on the spot, it is fortunate for Glenn that he still retained his senses and his presence of mind, for which he is much renowned in this locality. The shock seemed to have momentarily disconcerted his savage antagonist. Taking advantage of the pause, Glenn, by making a tremendous leap, seized the branches of an adjacent box tree and swung himself up just in time to escape the charge of the bull, whose shoulder, Glenn asserts, touched his feet. Of course, we lost sight of Glenn for the rest of the hunt. After I had rejoined the party, we managed, after various incidents in which the ridiculous and dangerous were somewhat strangely mingled, to yard 10 head of cows and calves. This performance was reckoned rather praiseworthy. Shutting the gates on the captured warrigals, we returned to the camp, where we found Glenn in a somewhat doubtful temper. Amid laughter at various huntsmen who had been placed in ridiculous positions, we heard many vows of a bull shooting expedition on the morrow. That was to yield ample vengeance for the death of old Pedro. We made our beds upon pine leaves beneath the clear blue sky, and lay down with a blazing log fire at our feet. An hour later, a solitary nightbird paused in its flight over 6 sleeping forms, and uttering his solemn notes, the ever mournful Mopoke moved on. The end. Well, I really like that story. Pity Pedro the horse got killed by the bull. I didn't realise how mean and angry and wild these fair dinkum wild bulls are that have been bred for years out in the bush that have never even had humans handle them at all. Okay, that's it from me. I'll get back to you all next time. Bye.